Previously, in our last session, we watched as our heroes escaped a deadly encounter with a hunting pack of clawfoot, managing to stay atop their riding lizards and pressing on through the dense forest after the conflict, only stopping after they've confidently fled to safety. And during their post-fight rest, Renny and Enna would finally get some hard details on whom Cleanser Armit actually is, and what exactly they're looking into as far as this investigation at the village as well. Our duo learning that Cleanser Armit hails from the city of Arlemere, the Forged Flower. His profession typically has him cleansing or purifying or aiding ailing people or places, but recently he believes he's stumbled upon minor elemental splits popping up in the Southlands. While he believes this could be the beginning of a chain reaction, his superiors of the Circles of Maroon Steel think he is connecting isolated incidents, believing the ambitious cleanser is following leads to something that isn't happening. After Renny and Enna would hear all of this, and asking their own questions in turn, we would watch our group of three climb atop their riding lizards once more, riding fast for roughly 4 hours or so, continuing on the final portion of their trek being under the cover of pure nightfall. Watching as our group of three would finally arrive in the Peachleaf community. Once in the small river village, we would get to watch in as Armit, Renny, and Enna would get to meet the halflings that called this humble settlement home. Over the course of the evening, they would share some drinks and some stories. Renny hearing a story regarding his family, the Applewicks, learning of their last known location and their involvement with people called web weavers in the city of Malachar. Facing the news head on, and dealing with it in his very own way, we would get to see Enna and Renny sit down to attempt a meditation after this, something they've tried before, but now trying to channel their meditative state in a direction. And with an impressive religion check by Enna, our pair would have an intense vision, sharing elements but seeing two different visions during a speech being set out to an unseen source, a crowd. As their visions would fade, we would watch our pair go over what they heard and saw briefly, but ultimately feeling left with countless questions. Our session ending as we saw Renny head inside the Halfling Tavern to sleep in their only spare room, as Enna would move back to the central bonfire of the village, nearby the riding lizards and Armit under the night sky. Our session today, picking up the following morning, we'd see the sun hanging high overhead. We would get to look in and see Renny, Enna, and Armit regrouping in the tavern for a quick breakfast before heading to the whalehouse that rests just behind the building they're currently in. We would get to see our trio with their halfling-sized portions of eggs, avocado toast, and a small selection of forest berries. The barkeep, Tarek, placing down these cups of chilled cider in front of each of them. Now, hey, I just wanted to say again, you three, we really appreciate you dredgers offering us a hand. I mean, it really means a lot to us here. Renny, Enna, we didn't really get to thank you properly last night when Armit made the offer, but, well, my dad just wanted me to make sure that I pass the word on to y'all that this means a lot to us.
Well, your hospitality is wonderful. Thank you. It's so nice to have such great food out here, even if the portions are a bit small for my size.
I mean, we can get you a second helping if you need it. I honestly wasn't sure. I don't really know if Dredger's like a full stomach before an investigation or if they, we just didn't really know. But the chilled cider, you definitely should have. It is the perfect level of sweet in the morning, I'm telling you.
Thank you. Yes, second servings of both for me.
I'll just do another cider.
Excellent. Can do. You would see Armit sort of lean in. Not a worry at all. Again, it's the least we could do after the hospitality you all showed us. Glancing over at Renny and Enna, probably giving a little bit of a smile. Armit probably quickly eating his breakfast during this little brief period, sipping on his cider. He's not much for this sort of level of sweet in the morning. Essentially, it's like a very chilled, like an apple cider, but it has this almost like citrus note in it.
Very nice.
Would there be any particular vibes for Renny and Enya, as you could easily get second servings of any food or drink at no charge? The Peach Leaf community not having too much to offer all of you, but this being the least they could do.
I think Enya looks like perked up, but she's maybe also a little lost in her thoughts. Because if I remember correctly, we did have some crazy dreams after those visions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a tiredness under her eyes and a sort of distractedness to any attempts at conversation.
I think, Renny has like that when you oversleep kind of tired. Like you slept enough, but you're just still like, just groggy. So he's kind of maybe like zoning out a lot.
Armit would probably match that tone. He wouldn't look very tired. He got a fair night's sleep, but he would look focused. Again, finish his food fairly quickly, waiting patiently after breakfast has been wrapped up. Tarek taking some of the last of those cups and plates from you. As he begins to make his way back into the kitchen, he would look back as he would probably notice you all beginning to stand up. Oh, hey, if y'all need anything, just give a shout. Again, that well house, it's basically right out back here, and you're definitely within hollering range, so if you need extra hands or anything, I'd imagine me or, someone will probably come help one way or another.
I'm sure we can handle it.
We're treasures. We're capable of it. But we'll let you know.
Y'all just be careful. You would step back into that kitchen, sort of pushing the door with his elbow as you would all stand up, begin heading outside as we would get to see Renny, Enya, and Armit step into the fresh morning air. The bright sun still hanging high overhead over the halfling village, giving our party almost their first look proper at the Peachleaf community in the day. Enya, even when you first woke up, there was some activity milling about, but now that the morning's slightly more at a normal waking hour for them, you would see some halflings milling about, as we would get to see our halfling and dragonling friend follow Armit from that front side of the tavern. They would make their way around to the back side of the building. Our party would sort of turn that corner. As soon as they turn it, they would be able to see maybe about 20, 25 feet behind the tavern would be this stone brick-looking well house, featuring very narrow slits for windows. The front door to the well house would feature a very hefty makeshift door. As you all would begin to approach, you could see a thick padlock with chains would keep the door locked shut. Approaching this well house, you could see it's fairly sized, even for a halfling-built structure. They clearly intended to keep the well house safe and secured. Would approach further, essentially walking up to the door. Armit would pull out the well house key from his pocket, the same one that he brandished last night. After a moment, he would move to unlock the well house entrance for you all, the heavy padlock making a dull click as he turns the key in place. As he would pull back these heavy chains before grabbing the door's thick handle and wrenching it open. The rusty hinges squeaking loud as it door swings wide open. With the door open, our three party members would see the inside of this maybe 15 by 15 square stone well house. Seeing it lit by stray light through its narrow windows, you would look in the center where you would see loosely about a 5-foot wide stone well that would go up maybe 2 or 3 feet from the ground. Seeing that there would be about a 5-foot walkway just sort of in a squared circle basically around the well. Not a whole lot of wiggle room inside this place. You would also note this rope and pulley system attached to what looks like the top ceiling beams, some of the structural beams. It would have this bucket tied on one end, clearly being a very basic means of drawing water from the well. Armit would start by walking around that narrow 5-foot space, probably leaving the two of you just outside the doorway as he would do a very light perimeter walk. You would see him move a few paces, maybe mutter a few things under his breath. Both of you give me either a perception or an arcana check.
13.
Both of you guys going with perception on that one. And yet it would probably be these very minor hand movements you would see. To the untrained eye, it would maybe just look like a flick of the wrist. But the magic users that you're familiar with at the monastery, they would do movements very similar. Not exactly the same, but you would see that motion, that familiarity he would move his hand with. He would cast a spell or two in this sort of circular walk he would be doing in this very sort of tight-spaced well house as he circles the well, muttering a few things under his breath. He would sort of step back to that doorway after doing maybe his third or fourth rotation around this very small well house. I'm not detecting anything odd or otherworldly currently. First observations, it would appear to be a well. He would sort of look over at the rope and pulley connected to the bucket, look back at the two of you. The locals did mention that the well would act out when water was drawn from it. Whom would like to do the honors of drawing water from this well for me?
Enya steps forward.
Excellent. Here, I will get on the opposite side of the sort of doorway here. Okay, I'll be here. Renny, you can either stand outside the well house, or you could stand just on the interior here next to Enna. You're probably the one that has the most wiggle room inside this space anyways.
Well, I'll wait in here, and he'll take out... Yeah, he'll have a sword out, and then I guess in his main hand he'll have a torch. Right? It's kind of dark. Oh wait, is it daytime? How dark is it?
It's daytime. You got plenty of light at the moment, even though it is fairly shaded in here just because of this thing's structure and the narrow windows. You have enough vision to sort of look around pretty easily.
You know, I still want to take out the torch, but I think I want to drop it in the well first.
Fair enough, like before Enna draws water?
Yeah.
Easy enough. Are you lighting this torch before you drop it?
So he's going to light the torch. I'm like, hold on, maybe let's just see if we could, I don't know, maybe see something. He'll lean over and then drop the lit torch down.
Armit would give a little bit of like a paused wait as you're lighting the torch. Didn't think about that. Fair enough to tempt.
Never know.
Lean over the edge and give it a drop. You would see the flame descend down 5, 10 feet. At almost about 15 feet, you would begin to see the water, as it's no longer just darkness that it's falling towards. That you would guess maybe be almost 20 feet down. Splash. The torch going out. You can hear the water sort of rocking the aftermath from the movement. Both of you go ahead and give me one more perception check.
You got this, Renny. That's an improvement.
723. All right.
Yeah, 23 from Enna, 7 from Renny. There would maybe be this brief moment. Renny would maybe watch the water down below loosely shift from some of the stray light.
Looks fine to me.
As you'd maybe lean away from the well. Armit looking over curiously, and Enna, you would sort of keep an eye curiously as well. It would maybe be, again, maybe 3 seconds later, the sound of a current speeding towards you as the water would begin to jettison up. Water rushing that 20-foot gap in seconds as the chute of water presses out the top of the well. Let's go ahead and roll for initiative real quick.
Aw, shit.
Damn.
Enna, I will give you advantage on your initiative check with your 23 perception check.
Nice.
What?
Get good.
It was my torch.
That's why you were distracted. It's not your fault. Oh, fate.
Double 17 for the initiative roll for Enna.
10.
Renny. Let me get Armit on the board here. The water weird will roll a 12.
Ooh.
It's So our current turn order here, after all of our initiatives are on the board, we have Enna with the 17 going first. The Water Weird will go second, followed by Renny, and Armit will close us out. It's Enna, starting on your turn. In that split second, you saw the water shoot up in this mass of water, this jet plunging out into the well house. As you sort of step back, you would see the water almost solidify. That stream of water that was shooting out begins to move and shift. It would have this almost snake-like head. You could see where eyes should be, this massive form. As you would see this Water Weird looking angrily between all three of you for provoking it.
So am I already within melee distance?
You are like right within range of this thing. So all of you are essentially in that 5-foot walkway in between the well itself and the walls of the well house. It is a very narrow space.
I'll go ahead and do a classic wombo combo of short sword, flurry of blows, draconic strike.
Get him.
So short sword first, 15.
15 will hit.
Phew.
7. As your short sword would pass through this thing, you would see its watery form. It would break in that moment, but it would slightly begin to re-solidify, dealing damage to it with the short sword, but not as much as you were hoping for.
Okay. And I'll follow up with my flurry of blows, draconic strike. And can I make each of those strikes different elemental damages?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay, so the first strike will be a cold strike if it hits. 15 again.
15 will hit. 5 cold as your frosted over fist makes contact. While it doesn't seem to do any extra damage, you could tell that the full brunt of your punch was taken. So not reduced, but not weak to cold damage.
Okay. And then she'll follow up. That second strike is going to be lightning damage.
Our third 15 will hit.
5 more damage. She's consistent.
The 2 17s for initiative, 350.
Yeah. This is the fateful episode.
That second unarmed strike, finding purchase. You can see that it would take the full blow. No additional damage dealt, but none negated.
And then I'll just kind of move to have Renny sort of behind me. Just shifting my position around the well a bit.
Kind of step in between him and the well, basically?
Yeah.
All right.
And then maybe she'd just shout like, my blade went right through it.
As soon as Enna shouts that, the Water Weird, this water snake you are all currently facing down that is essentially just jettisoning out still from this well as it's coiled up. It's gonna go for you, Enna, after those strikes. You see this water serpent whoosh, lash out.
Not another snake.
As it goes to constrict you. Does a 16 hit?
Miss. She sort of like jumps up and like taps it like with her hand, you know, like a cool guy jumping over a car.
That strike comes down, your reflex is on point, evading the strike, coming back down to your feet as this large water serpent recoils in its almost aggressive position. That will be it for our Water Weird, as we will go to Renny. Essentially, your back is to this doorway. Like, you could just step right out if worst comes to worst. But right in between you and the well, Enna sort of wedged herself after dodging this strike.
She's trying to take my glory. I'll steady aim, and I'll generate a psychic blade in my offhand. I'll kind of lean up a little bit, like sidearm throw it right around her.
Easy enough. That'll be a flat attack with that steady aim canceling out the disadvantage there.
17.
17 will hit.
Nice.
10. I'll do my sneak attack. 17.
Whew. 17 damage as this emerald blade arcs right around you, Enna, breaks through this giant water serpent's form. No damage resisted, Renny, as you would see that emerald blade find its target. All 17 damage landing.
Woo!
What is I guess I could look it up, but do you have what does sneak attack damage come across as, or is it just damage?
It's just like a flat damage.
Oh, cool.
It doesn't have a type associated with it.
Sick. Okay. I was worried about that when I did it. It's like, I wonder if that's like bludgeoning or something. Sweet. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's post-action, and I have no movement. But probably still has his sword in his left hand. Makes him feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Still gonna use these psychic blades. So I was afraid like one day it just won't work. Just in case. But yeah, that's it.
All right. And as we will go to Armit, that momentary shock as he was almost paralyzed in the moments of this thing's full creation in front of your eyes, seeing this giant water serpent. Cleanser Armit would sort of snap out of it, his gaze finally breaking. He would look over to Renny and Enna. This is not exactly what I expected us to get into. And you would see his hand begin to shift and change as it almost takes on more of a bear-like form. As he will go for a primal savagery swing on this water weird. A 22 for Cleanser Armit.
Nice.
Guy.
7 acid damage. As his bear claw rips through the back of this water weird, it would sort of shift and coil. All 7 damage landing true. That will be Cleanser Armit. We're going to go back to the top of initiative with Enna.
And yeah, let's see. So I can do an unarmed strike as my main attack. It doesn't have to be the sword.
Yeah, you could use your fists, your unarmed strikes.
Hell yeah. Just for flavor, we'll say that this initial unarmed strike is a kick for funsies. So let's see. The Dragon Strike still counts with this, right? So yeah, she's gonna do a kick, and it's like her foot's on fire as she attempts to land this attack.
An 11. We'll say flavor-wise, as you go for this kick, your flame foot almost ignites immediately, and as it would make contact with the water weird, it is almost extinguished immediately by this thing's form. Land back down. And I'll say, even though you missed, I'll say mechanically, you do learn that this thing is probably resistant to fire damage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. We'll follow up with a flurry of blows.
Get 'em.
Try to make up for that. And I guess she'll try another cold followed by poison. So this first strike will be cold. 15.
Will hit.
5 damage again.
Boom. Finding purchase. All 5 damage going through on this thing.
Ooh, poison misses.
Poison misses. The water weird is becoming a little wise to your tactics as it's evading that last strike.
Rude. But I think that'll be it for her turn. She's just keeping steady. Probably trying her best to seem like the biggest threat so that it keeps going for her.
I mean, that's fair. Swinging at this thing 6 times collectively so far, I think you're making a fair run for that.
Mm-hmm. She's almost bouncing in place with all of these different strikes and jumps and.
I'm getting, I don't know why, I have no reason to go off this, but I'm getting a Bruce Lee vibe for how Enna fights.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because her practice has always been as meditation almost, as opposed to practical. She probably does have a pretty showy style, at least for now.
We will go from Enna, the water weird, as it is definitely recognizing Enna as the main foe. It's going to lash out once more, going for one more constrict on you. It's a natural 20.
Oh no.
Careful what you wish for.
It'll be 12 bludgeoning damage, as Renny and Armit would get a front row seat to this thing lunging out, mouth open, as it would bite down, and it would consume Enna. Enna, as soon as this thing swipes down, you find yourself plunged in water. You feel yourself beginning to move and shift about, and the next thing you know, You're inside of this giant living mass of water right now. You are almost like floating around trying to right yourself as you were upside down in that moment. And you look out and you probably can see through the water surface. You can see Rennie's face just like expression drop as he's looking at you inside the body of this water weird. So mechanically, you are considered grappled.
Okay.
You got.
Am I also like drowning or whatever? Like, am I holding my breath?
So you'll be fine for at least the first couple of rounds as long as nothing crazy happens.
Okay.
So essentially, you're just grappled. So it would take an opposed athletics check to try to break out of this thing. Well, I guess athletics for it.
Okay.
Athletics or acrobatics for you. As it constricts you, Enna, as you maybe take in your current position. That'll be it for the water weird. And Renny, it will be your turn. As you're seeing this large water serpent now having Enna in its watery form, as you see her probably just like righting herself and just trying to get her bearings.
Oh god. So I don't have to move because we were in the same space, right?
Yeah, you were totally good.
Correct. Okay.
Like this thing probably like drenched you in water when it grabbed Enna up and pulled her back. You're probably like soaking wet now.
Yeah, he'll probably just be like, "Hey, spit her out," and he'll create a psychic blade. And I think, oh yeah, he'll drop his sword. So it just hits the ground, and he'll do a psychic blade. 24.
A 24 will hit.
7.
Nice.
And sneak attack. So 15.
Whew.
And then I can take a second attack with the psychic blade in my offhand, but it just does a d4. What's just the damage type is d4, but I have 2-weapon fighting. Would I still add damage to that?
I would do the 1d4 plus your dexterity modifier with that.
Okay, cool.
Since you have the 2-weapon fighting. Because I believe that's what 2-weapon fighting gives you, right? Is your ability modifier to the damage?
Yeah. 26.
A 26 will hit.
6 more damage.
6 more damage.
21.
As you lay into the water weird with these psychic blade strikes, Renny, how do you finish off the water weird?
Honestly, it's probably like one big slice across and then one kind of straight down. It kind of creates this little like XT thing, and then as soon as like the water's missing, and as it comes in to like fill the gap, it just like collapses and spills out.
As you get these 2 slashes, its form would almost begin to break and cut as if it were flesh. It would split. And yet, in this moment, you would see this form begin to die around you. And you look down what looks like a virtually endless well beneath you. You feel this slight descent begin to happen. I need an athletics or an acrobatics check.
Okay, so my reaction try and help.
You can give her advantage. Like basically like reach out a hand while she tries to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stick with acrobatics. 18.
Thankfully, this well isn't very big. Again, it itself is only about 5 feet wide or so. As you feel that descent, that slight drop, you reach out, and thankfully your hand grasps the edge as you begin to descend. As your weight begins to pick up, there's this slight jolt as this water around you begins to rush down. You feel your grip begin to loosen a little. The rocks became extremely slick. And a familiar feeling of 2 hands being wrapped around your wrist and wrenching you up as you begin to pull your other hand up. Raising, you see Renny there, foot on the edge of the well, just pulling you back as you flop out of the well, soaking wet. You would probably hear Armit. Oh my gods. Whoa.
While he's laughing and whatever like that, and he's on the floor like, oh, I hate snakes.
You hate snakes?
Yeah.
Did you see snakes?
She gets up on all fours. That was basically a snake. Snake-like enough.
Renny's just on his back, just kind of breathing after a good fight. Just well, at least Harvey didn't get hurt this time.
Are you two all right? That was incredible. By the gods. Whoa.
Is that the only one? And yeah, like her hair, which is curly and like normally voluminous, is just like plastered to her head and her shoulders. Like almost looks like one of those nun cowl things, you know? Just like, or like a cobra hood. She gets up and kind of hesitantly peers down the well.
Give me a perception check with advantage, as Armit will sort of join you in looking over that edge.
16.
Both you and Armit probably look for a long 5, 10, maybe almost 20 seconds as you can hear Renny sort of standing up. He's just trying to dry off what he can. It's been about 20 seconds. The water down at the very bottom seems still.
You guys see anything or what? Should we like try the bucket? Just make sure nothing else gets mad?
I think that's a pretty good idea, Renny. Yeah. Enna, if you don't mind, do you mind still doing the honors? Grabbing that rope? Just untie it from that latch.
Yeah, okay. I'm already soaked, so who cares? Maybe it'd be nice to have a drink of water that isn't trying to kill me. Yeah, okay.
And I'll stand at the ready with the psychic blade.
Make these green emerald blades appear in your hands, Renny, as Enna, you move over to where the rope is sort of tied off to and undo this simple knot. Begin to gently lower down that bucket, and you got to lower it down about 20-ish feet or so. But you would hear it plunge down into the water. There'd be a long pause as all of you maybe are waiting. Maybe making eye contact between you two, looking over at Armit, standing tensely. Another long 10, 15 seconds passing before Renny and Enna hear nothing. Both of you give me perception checks real quick.
You got this, Renny.
Push us both in. A 6. I'm consistent as well.
You just can't see over the edge that easily. It's not your fault.
Just like that little hop and skip to try and look down.
There'd be a bit of, again, that long pause as Enna and Armit, your attention are focused on this well. And Enna, you maybe slowly begin to pull the bucket up. You can feel the added weight. The bucket definitely full of water. But Renny, you get distracted. You begin to hear the grinding of these old pulley systems as they begin to move. You begin to hear some voices outside the well house. Standing pretty close to the door, you would turn around and look. You would see there'd be about 10 or 12 very curious halfling faces, standing probably about 15 to 20 feet back, all of them probably loosely gathered around the back side of the tavern, as they are all gawking and curiously looking in. You would see some of them maybe mutter a few things between themselves. As you would hear the pulley system stop, Renny. You would look over as Enna would tie the bucket off. She'd move over and unlatch it from the actual rope. As you would have a full bucket of well water, crystal clear. Armit probably looking at the water. He would wave his hands slightly, a muttering of elven words. Slight dispersal of magic. He would look over to Enna holding the bucket. It's clean. It's more than clean. There's nothing. No sign of anything. I think we did it.
Whew. I'll dispel his psychic blades. Alright, well maybe we should get out of here before we tell them it's clear. Just, they'll probably want to rush in. And
It's a good point. It's a good point. And he would maybe look past through the doorway. He would probably look and see a couple of those halflings all sort of gawking by the tavern's back end. Yes, I see what you mean. Okay. Well, Enna, how about you do the honors? Let them know that their well water is cleansed.
Sure. She had like pulled out her water skin and like was topping it off while you guys were talking.
First tips, bro.
If they're like peering in, maybe she sort of like with a flourish stands up and holds her full water skin up as she moves to the door. She says, "Good people of Peachleaf, your well is safe now. Renny Applewick, slayed the awful creature, has been plaguing you good people."
It is a group effort.
And then she'll sort of step aside and like Will Smith pose show Renny.
As he sort of leave Renny on display here in this doorway. Again, there may be about 15 or so of these halflings curiously looking over at you all. You would see about 4 or 5 more kind of trickle over during your slight speech. And as soon as you put Renny on display, showing your full water skin, letting them know their well is cleansed, they would all begin to cheer and yell, "Wow!" As they would slowly begin to trickle towards the well house. You probably get some very like happy handshakes from some of the people, Renny. And yeah, you probably have 1 or 2 of these halfling kids that just run up and just like wrap around your legs.
Oh, awkward head pats. Yes, tiny children.
Armit probably walking, out of the well house proper as some of the halflings begin to filter in, looking over at the 2 of you. Perhaps we best get on the road. Don't want to hang around too long, right? As he sort of gives both of you these knowing looks.
Yes, I'd hate to run into Clawfoot in the dark.
Exactly.
A lot of judging to do.
Come, the riding lizards. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are ready to set back out. As Armit would begin to move away from the well house, as it's kind of loosely crowded with most of the halfling villagers here at this point. Enna and Renny both probably just being edged out of that, sort of proper entryway to the well house, as there's just this small crowd kind of beginning to move in there. You can already hear the pulley system being used to draw more well water. Armit would begin to lead both of you sort of back to the tavern, walking around that backside edge back towards the front. You could see there'd be a few more of the halfling citizens that would kind of be in mid-motion, kind of heading past you, clearly going to the well house. You would probably have one, halfling woman, short blonde hair, freckles peppered across her rosy cheeks. She would probably give Renny just a bit of a wave as she passes. "Thank you, Mr. Applewick."
It was nothing. It's just what we do.
She would maybe loosely bat her eyes at you before carrying on to the well house, as we would see the 3 of you sort of pass by that front entry to the tavern. Its front doors would open up, seeing these sort of rounded belly, balding head, and sort of gray wisps of hair, as you would see Kimber Peachleaf step back out of the tavern. Bit of a surprised look on his face as he would begin to head down some of the steps. "Well, hey, did I hear someone shouting about that the well's been cleansed? I heard someone yelling about it."
Yeah, it should be good to go. People are getting water from there now.
"Well, shit. Well, thank you so much. All 3 of y'all's. Thank you kindly. We really appreciate that. Hey, Renny. Hey, I just wanted to say, I am sorry for having to be the bearer of that bad news last night, and well, I don't mean to bring up that badness, but what I did mean to bring up is, it got me to thinking, and I remembered that, my grandpappy, his favorite gloves he ever had, and the favorite gloves he ever used, they were Applewick made, and so it just got me to thinking, and he would reach into his almost breast coat pocket of this a very simple vest he would have on. You would see him pull out this pair of very dark leather gloves. They would have this almost emerald green like stitching up and down the fingers, moving across the digits. They almost look like gardener's gloves, but they seem incredibly form-fitting to the hand. Kimber sort of offering over these gloves. Again, like I was saying last night, the Applewicks, they're kind of known in Malachar for a while as some of the best tailors. And, my grandpappy bought these gloves some time ago, and, when he passed, he left them to me. And, well, Renny, I think they just probably belong to you now. I think that just would make sense, especially after all you kind folks have done. I think it's the least we could do.
Thank you. It's very thoughtful. He's probably just kind of like lost looking at him. Thank you. I really appreciate this. It's very kind of you.
Hey, anytime. Are y'all looking to stay? I mean, I'm sure once we draw some water, people will want to, get some drinks and celebrate for a little bit.
Oh, I mean, we would love to, but I think we're trying to head out a little early and just make sure, avoid some dangerous things, clawfoots, and he's kind of like looking over at them to make sure that's the play, like side-eyeing for the objection.
Armit would probably give you this like small, confident nod.
So yeah, plus, there's always more dredging to do, more towns and people. So, but thank you again, and he'll give him like a hand, like for the handshake.
Kimber would return a firm handshake, clasping his second hand onto sort of the back of yours. If I do find out anything about the Applewicks, I mean, I'll be sure to keep it down in my memory. And, well, if y'all are ever dredging in the area again, feel free to stop on by. First loaf of apple bread on me.
Well, I mean, for free apple bread, I'm sure we'll swing back by again. But, be careful, be good. And he'll just kind of like turn to walk with the group.
And Kimber would sort of give like a smile as you turn, and he would watch the three of you head back to your riding lizards. After a moment, he would sort of turn as Tarek would leave the tavern, the two of them exchanging quick words as they too begin to head over to the well house. Renny, go ahead and add Gloves of Skilled Digits to your inventory, my good sir.
Oh, shit.
What? That's cool. Give me the bit. Herbalism kit. I can finally start the pot farm and settle down.
Our audio listeners, the Gloves of Skilled Digits, a wondrous item. While attuned to these gloves, the wearer gains resistance to poison damage and also gains a +5 bonus to skill checks made with herbalism kits and healer's kit.
I have healer's kit.
Yeah, that's good for us.
Sweet. Added.
As we would watch the three of you head back to your riding lizards, as they would be sort of meandering around the central, sort of very dull bonfire. They sort of tend to keep this central bonfire, at least at a light at any given point. Three of you heading back over, seeing Biscuit, Dapple, and Sunbeam, as each of you would get back to your riding lizards. Probably seeing everyone do these final checks and surveys of their items and their mounts. Any final words or conversations for anyone before we would watch our group make the trek back to Summerbend?
Before they get on, Renny would take out the apple that he whittled for Enna. It'd be like, I made you this yesterday. You don't have to wear it.
Well, Renny. She looks like very touched, and she just like immediately like pins it right onto the front of her outfit.
He would have Lucky at his shoulder wearing his tiny little vest with his tiny little apple.
She'll like put a hand on your shoulder, just like look you in the eyes. Thank you.
Thank you. I just figured now we're a proper group.
Right. We should come up with a dredging name.
Well, I guess we have plenty of time while we ride. Never thought of it. I called my own dredging group before. He'd probably just kind of get lost in that.
She'll just give you a little clap, head towards Dapple.
And our view would fall back as we would watch our three mount their riding lizards, seeing Armit sort of take out this familiar orb, letting it hover right out in front of him as it would begin to position, acting almost like a compass as it stays affixed in a position. And see Armit look back at the two of you, give an affirming nod, before he would give Sunbeam a very light kick to the side, beginning its trot away from the Peachleaf community. Watching Dapple and Biscuit follow in tow, we would get to watch as our party begin their return back to the city of Summerbend. Renny, Enna, and Armit progressing on through the early morning to the heat of the midday. The only thing bringing solace on such a hot and humid day is the wind whipping by the party as their 20-foot-long riding lizards race through the woods. There would maybe be a few stops, a couple of breaks every now and again, but the hours would fly by as our trio continues on and on. Until finally, maybe about an hour or two before sunset, our party would finally arrive back to the outer reaches of the city of Summerbend. The sun, hanging low, still providing plenty of light, as we would see our group head back to the land corrals where they first chartered these riding lizards from. Renny, Enna, and Armit riding up, passing by some of the other structures and buildings of these outer perimeters of the city of Summerbend, approaching that large corral filled with a litany of unique land mounts. We would see one of these familiar stable hands come out. Hey, oh, come on in here. Oh, these are ours? No big deal. All right, we got you guys. All right. Hey, what was your name? As we would see Armit kind of do the loose back and forth, making sure that all the correct paperwork is done. And after maybe about 5 or 6 minutes, we would watch our party split up from their riding lizards that faithfully carried them through the Gold Reach, seeing Biscuit, Dapple, and Sunbeam being returned to their stalls, leaving our three outside the front of the land corral. There would probably be a long minute of just the three of you milling about, maybe loosely beginning to walk towards those sort of outer sort of dockway, looking for possibly a ferry. Armit would look over at the two of you. Seeing as you both did a better job than I could have ever imagined, I added a little bit of a bonus here. And he would toss a pouch over to Enna. 40 gold pieces in there. 20 for each of you, or however you want to split that up.
Oh.
That's all you. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. If you should ever need this sort of help, we're around. I'd be glad to work with you again.
Definitely.
She hands 20 pieces over to Renny.
Thank you.
If I may ask, what are your plans now? What will the wondrous Enna and the resourceful Renny be pursuing next?
I don't know. I mean, we were thinking about maybe heading a little more southwest, just kind of exploring. Maybe head further downriver, just kind of see what's out there.
Life on the road is not something I'm typically accustomed to. For me, my home beckons me still. I must return to Arlemere and my studies. I honestly hope my absence over these past 2 days hasn't raised too much suspicion, but I'll deal with that tomorrow morning.
Oh, you're from Arlemere.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Not born and raised, but it is the most home I've ever known.
We were thinking about hitting a few towns, but definitely wanted to go to Arlemere. I mean, how do you normally get back?
Oh, I will personally be heading back to Mother Baba's. I will probably have to break it to her that I don't think I'll have time for our usual tea sessions, but she has her ways. Not magic I am wildly privy to, but there is a large case that I have a duplicate of, and when she wills it, I can step between them. Moving from Arlemere to, well, Summerbend, I haven't known Mother Baba to be anywhere else but Summerbend in all the years I've known her.
That's fair. She likes what she likes. She has quite the setup. Imagine it'd be hard to move all that stuff that she keeps. Oh, interesting. I don't know what he wants to say or what I don't want to say.
I feel like Enya's giving you a look. Like, I think we've known each other long enough at this point that, like, we can have a sort of silent conversation with just, like, micro expressions. So Enya's like, do you want to ask him? Like, should we go with him?
And that's what he's on the fence about. Well, we still have to travel with the ferry, right? Like, we're still traveling with him back to Summerbend.
Yeah, if you guys were looking to head back to like Summer Bend, like proper, where like the actual civilization of Summer Bend is, you guys would still need to get a ferry. Armit wasn't sure if it was like you guys were heading out to do your own thing immediately, or if you would be accompanying him. But if you sort of follow him in that direction, he'd more than happily wave down a ferry and get all of that taken care of, much like last time, as far as handling the exchange.
Yeah. Probably after that, he'd just be like, we could go back with you to Summer Bend. I think we needed to go back to town anyway.
Yes, we were having an interesting conversation with Mother Baba before you arrived, and I do believe we intended to continue that.
That's right. We were asking her some questions, and then I'll establish psychic whispers with Enna. Let me roll the d6. See how many hours we get.
Let's go,
6, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
What?
Oh man,
Oh.
1 hour.
I do too well with pressure.
That's all we need.
Sorry, yeah. I would, once that pops up, I'd be like, do we ask him to go, or should we just still plan on something else?
Well, it is the fastest way to get much further along the continent. I mean, unless we think that cave is somewhere between here and there, I don't see why we would pass on an opportunity like this.
You're right. I'm gonna ask my Mother Baba first, and then I'll bring it back up. All right, as we mentioned, we're gonna have a follow up with Mother Baba. Can I ask you, like, what exactly does she do?
That is a very fair question, as you may come to find out, depending on how much more you interact with her. She is a bit of a seer. Some call her a plains caller. Some say she's not even native to this plane at all. If you asked her, she would say that she is a caretaker. I believe her exact words were tender of the garden. But she offers aid to those that come through Summer Bend. Though people's view of what aid is may vary, she tries to find what will truly satisfy them, whether they know it or not. Some say she'll send you on a wild goose chase, while others claim that she can see into the future.
And, you said what some say. How has it been for you? Have you ever had her see for you?
I personally have not. Do keep in mind I am not native to Summer Bend or Arlemere, from the far coasts of the Gold Reach, where the elf tribes reside. Being a half-elf there provided many difficult opportunities, though many on a first glance would not assume me to be half-elf. Almost any elf will pick it out at a moment's notice. Something that made my life difficult, and the main reason for why I left. I came to Summer Bend looking for answers. I was tempted to ask Mother Baba, but instead she wanted my help. She claimed that her plants were sick, charged me with finding something to cure them, which led to me becoming a cleanser, which led to me leaving to Arlemere. She put me on this path even though I didn't ask for it. A knack I think that she has in spades, honestly.
Sounds worth it. Is she the one who lets you? So whose trunk is it then? Sorry, you said that when she wills it.
Oh, it is very much her trunk. Her being her, she kept the more simple, designed one. I'll have to try to show you what the one I have looks like. It is so gaudy. I keep it in my closet. I fear that company will see it, quite honestly.
That's fair. That seems like she likes traded things. Maybe something gaudy looks too new for her. Did she get it by trade? Or is this something she created?
This is not something I've ever thought about.
She gets so many unique things. It's like, well, maybe she finally got something good. I mean, no offense. Some of that stuff in there is just...
It is junk. You are not wrong. And
oh, thank God. Okay,
while we're on the subject, she's also an enigma wrapped in a question mark. I mean, she preaches about otherworldly things being more important than worldly possessions. And then you walk inside her hut, and it is littered with worldly possessions.
That's fair. Well, you got to convince somebody it's not worth it before you ask for it, right?
Fair enough. Maybe she takes what the person wants the most, wants the least, shouldn't have around them, should have around them. I've been trying to answer that question for some time.
Okay. Well, when were you planning on using your trunk to go back?
I was actually hoping to head there as soon as we got back to the Eastmost Sister.
Oh.
I honestly would love to get back to my studies and get everything written down as far as what we experienced. To be fair, I may have not explained fully in certain areas, but this would only be my second actual site to go investigate myself. Every other site I've been aware of or have tried to connect have been secondhand stories or reports. So being able to add all of this to my collective notes, it is all I can think about, if I'm being honest.
You hit it well. And he's going to use his mind powers and be like, oh my God, we were his first attempt. We were just a trial.
I think we were technically his second. Did he tell us about the first one when we had that conversation after the clawfoot attack?
I think he did loosely mention it, but he would explain again. The first and only other site I had been to, there was a single dust method that would sprout up loosely around sunset, just off outside of Arlemere itself. I heard some of the children talking about it. After I had already stumbled upon what I had thought I stumbled upon, I investigated it. After a very slight back and forth, again, it's just one single small little creature.
Mm-hmm.
I figured at worst that is maybe what we would have faced at the well. I honestly wasn't expecting something so powerful.
It's a good thing you brought some help.
I will admit that the method did get the best of me in the beginning of our fray. And so I figured I would hire some helpful hands. And I was sent the two of you. It was a blessing, if I could say the least. I'm not sure just anyone could have handled that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you were able to be of assistance and everything went well. I don't mean to be too forward here, but could we potentially go through that trunk that you were talking about? I mean, we were going to end up in Arlemere, so I just thought, well, maybe we could, already have somebody there that could just, steer us a little bit. I mean, feel free to say no. I get it.
No, this is something I had not actually fully thought of, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, if I do allow the two of you to come to Arlemere with me, I would ask one favor. I guess technically two favors. The first being, do not mention my leaving or where exactly we met, or how you came to Arlemere exactly.
So we don't know you.
We can know each other.
Okay, just we got there on our own.
Exactly. I
Okay.
don't wish for the Maroon Steel to know about my ease of connection to Summerbend. There are, I suppose, bad blood between the two cities.
Okay, so that's easily done.
Excellent. The second request I would have is if I were to have any more sites to investigate, could I count on the two of you to act as my retainers, my aid?
Yeah, it's like while we're in Arlemere, I don't see why not. I mean, really, as long as you could get in contact, I don't see why we wouldn't be willing to help.
Renny nods.
Excellent. And it would probably be at this time when one of the fairies would probably just be coming to park, hollering out in Elven. Enya, you hearing the words. Are you lot coming? Are you lot going? You look over and you would see a elf woman. She would have very long, dark brown hair, almost like a gold sheen to her eyes. After a little bit of an exchange, Armit paying the ferry, all of you climbing on board this, again, very simple. Again, it's essentially just like a wooden raft. Seeing this elf woman use that same magic to almost do this miming of rope pulling, seeing the water in front of the ship almost tense, like someone's grabbing it and pulling the raft along. Would there be anything particular from you two? As Armit wouldn't want to talk too much about some of these specifics, especially now that you're on board a ferry with this driver on board.
Mm-hmm.
Since the two of you still have your connection up, you're free to converse if you see fit.
Yeah, I imagine we're like facing different directions off the side of the ferry as we chat psychically. Do you want to follow through immediately, or do you want to try to have a chat with Mother Baba when we get back?
Maybe once we get off the boat, if either he'd be willing to go tomorrow so we could chat, or if it was possible, like we could go at a separate time, right? Like maybe he could go now, but if it's up to her, she should be able to send us, I would imagine.
That's what I was thinking as well. Seems like she controls the entry and exit as opposed to him.
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't mind one more night, Summer Bend. Maybe get food at that little stand again.
That's what I was just thinking. Those yum yum buns.
We'll get some of those, and I don't know, man. We got some gold. Maybe see if we can find some other healing stuff. I mean, I know you took some hits this morning.
I've felt worse, but I've felt better. She sort of like is rolling her shoulder.
You just hear that god awful grinding, clicking. Okay. But I don't know. And also, those cold baths are kind of nice, and I wouldn't mind one of those.
That's true. I'm not quite ready to say goodbye to that yet.
Feeling the heat and humidity, and I don't know what Arlemir's like. Can't be worse, right?
I believe did I study a map or anything? Like, does Enya know it's like tucked in the mountains? Does she know anything about the terrain?
Give me either a history check or an investigation check. I'll let you decide normal, disadvantage, or advantage.
We'll just do a flat history. 23.
Enna, you probably did maybe loosely track out like a vague path you guys could take at one point in time. So you would be fairly familiar, at least with the general terrain of Arlemir, knowing that it rests at sort of the base of the Saren Cliffs. It's essentially in this small alcove. It's known to have a few harbors, has good trade. It is a elf and dwarf co-run city, knowing that part of the city lies inside of this mountain chamber that they've carved out, and part of it lies just outside the mountain, knowing that it's sort of like a cohabited city. Again, one of the larger cities here in the Southlands.
Interesting. She'll share all that with him, a little summary via the link, and then just sort of add that, based off of my experience with caves, and I'm sure you know as well, they tend to be an average temperature. So hopefully that means it's not too warm.
Okay, the city sounds cool.
I am quite intrigued. I'm glad we're going to be stopping there.
It'll be fun. Plus, we can hand off that journal.
And the ring.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, journal and the ring. And who knows? Maybe our cave will be in those mountains.
That's true. Once we see it in person, it should be clearer.
And then, worst case, we'll just work our way back up here. Kind of see what we missed in reverse.
Hopefully we can find some dredger work in the area, even if Cleanser Armit doesn't have anything for us.
If their job board was anything like the one we had in Summer Bend.
A lot of lost pets. If we have to choose between speaking with Mother Baba or going to Arlemir via the trunk, which way do we weigh?
I'll be honest. I'm curious with Mother Baba, but I don't know how much I guess I don't know what I don't know, so I guess I don't feel like I would be... It's a curiosity, but I think I would be okay not talking to her.
I understand.
It's like I want to, but it's also like, is it legit? Is it just little snippets? Is this going to keep me up at night for nothing? Doesn't sound like she's always the clearest.
That's true. Sounds like she could just as easily derail us as she could set us on the right path.
She seemed to just be about our desires, not so much about the weird stuff we've been seeing. But that's just me. I mean, I'd be okay staying too. You could take a griffin or take that job. Or...
Personally, I'm leaning more towards our Lemire. I think whatever Mother Baba may have to share doesn't cut the travel time between us and the other coast.
Fair. Well, hopefully we can get both. It's a choice we don't have to make.
Agreed.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna take a quick nap. I'm tired.
See Renny sort of lay down on this raft, sort of kick his feet up a little bit, as we would watch the driver of this ferry continue on, taking in the sight of these 3 massive trees that rest on their respective islands in the center of the body of water. The ferry would take them to the same docks that sort of line that chunk of landmass on the eastmost tree, the eastmost sister. Once at the docks, the ferry driver would usher all 3 of you off, stepping down the actual wooden planks. You would get to see you 3 enter Summerbend proper again, as we would watch you guys move towards the actual large tree itself. Would there be any particular conversations as you guys would walk across the sort of ground level city as you get over to those large steps carved into the bark of the tree?
I mean, when we had a moment with no one really around with Armit, I would have asked. Just like, hey, I know you said you were okay with this going. I was just curious. We were kind of hoping for at least like one more night in the town and maybe talk to Mother Baba. I didn't know if you'd be comfortable either just waiting or if maybe we could go separately if Mother Baba's the one controlling it. I don't want to be like overly, pushy or demanding. I understand. It's, we already appreciate the offer to come with you.
Armit would look at you and Enna and sincerely begin to mull the question over in his mind. You could see he's weighing the almost addiction of note-taking and keeping astute paperwork versus the pleasantry of Summerbend.
I know you want to get back. There's this great little like food cart, like bun shop place. Like we could take you there. It's super good. And then, honestly, I just wanted one more night here, First time ever being here. And he kind of gestures either to it or like in front of them, depending how far.
Mm-hmm.
When this moment was done, he's like, plus, it's just so like, it's a beautiful place. I've never been somewhere that's like a tree city. But again, I understand you probably won't get back. It's your chest. I don't want to step on your toes. Again, either way, or we could try and go on our own. Just have the trunk not in the closet.
If I'm being honest, I would prefer you all not to go on your own.
Okay.
For personal matters, the trunk is located in my home, in my study.
Yeah, of course.
But you would see him begin to mull over the thought of either leaving now or leaving, kind of like tomorrow morning, as he's weighing his options. Renny, give me a persuasion check.
Can I attempt to assist?
Yeah, what would Enna's assist look like? How would she add to this?
She'd just say, if your concern, Armit, is being discovered missing, there's nothing much we can do to help with that. But if you're simply eager to make your accounts, I don't see why we can't all meet together tonight at the lovely place we're staying at, enjoy some of those delicious buns from the cart, and sort of discuss what happened. We could act as witnesses, and you could take our accounts of the event.
That's true. describe some of the stuff there and what we were doing to damage it. He's not sure what the fuck he's looking for, so he just...
I love it. I love it. Give me that persuasion with advantage, Renny.
If not, then he's gonna punch you with a flaming fist.
He's out.
You're out of here. 24.
24. You would see Armit sort of chew on the idea for a moment. Perhaps I could use a night of slight relaxation. While I do appreciate the attempts of maybe taking some notes tonight, I think maybe it's best if maybe we wait till tomorrow. Perhaps tomorrow morning we can go speak with Mother Baba, make our way back to my home, conduct these interviews, which is a great idea. And then after we conducted the interviews, I can turn you loose on Arlemir or play host. I suppose it really depends on our timetable. The earlier, the better. Most of my affairs won't be till much later in the day. But yeah, I don't see why not. And what are these buns you mentioned?
Oh, they're delicious. I feel like that's all she needs to like launch into like a very detailed rant about exactly why they're so good and how perfectly the sauce pairs with the meat, and her speculations on like how everything is seasoned.
Mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel.
Yeah.
You maybe get like a third into your description, and Armit's like, Enna, please, begin leading us there. Please, we're wasting time. These sound delicious.
Yes. Immediately pivots, changes direction.
As we would see our trio sort of turn back away from the steps they were loosely leading towards as they remain here on the ground level, beginning to search through, get some food, enjoy their night here in Summerbend, going to speak with Mother Baba tomorrow morning. Now, other than heading and getting some food, maybe heading up to the glow hearth after that, getting some rest, as the sun is loosely beginning to head down at this point. You maybe have an hour and a half at most of good sunlight left in the day. Is there anything else that you two would like to get into before sort of heading up to the glow hearth, maybe getting those cold baths and sort of unwinding from your day of long travel?
I want to see if we can find health potion, some sort of healing.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's fair. Very fair.
Our money's on potion. I don't think we can use spell scrolls, right? We're not casters.
You can. In my games, you can. You don't have to be a spellcaster for them.
Cool. So then either some sort of healing spell scroll or healing potion, because I still have healing kits.
Mm-hmm. With the daylight you guys have left, one of you roll me a D100 and then call it high or low. And if you guess correct, high or low, you guys happen to find a shop that's still open in time and get to do a little bit of haggling for some health potions.
I vote Renny. He's the city boy. City boy?
Can't all live in the mountains and just be a janitor.
Ugh.
High? Fuck, 31.
31.
Shouldn't have said it. I should have made fun of her janitor profession.
That's what you get.
It's probably a little bit of that and a little bit of you guys maybe spent a little bit too much time eating some of the yum yum buns, as Armit probably went back for seconds and thirds, as he loves these things. He's never heard or had these before, and they're blowing his mind.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
As the three of you begin to head back out, Renny maybe having that last minute thought of, we should try to find some health potions of some kind. You begin looking through a few different stores and shops. None really catch your eye until you come upon sort of carved loosely into the base of the tree, like a home that's almost half built into the tree. You would see it would have a small sign out front. It would be Stool's Toad, Alchemy and Herbalism Supplies. You're maybe like, hells, why not? It's the only alchemy place that is still open, as the sun is essentially almost fully set at this point by the time you find Stool's Toad. Heading into the place, it very much has that home renovated to be a storefront vibe. Stepping in, there'd be all manner of alchemical supplies lining the walls, the cabinets, and display racks. You would see there would be a grung shopkeep sitting behind their desk, They'd be a little portly, fairly wide in the face, these very classic, almost frog-like eyes that almost blink one at a time as you enter. Doing a little bit of back and forth with the shopkeep. He does not have any healing potions available, sadly. What he does have, he has 3 healing salves. And they're essentially this like heavy, almost like cream. The grung explaining that you need to essentially fully use a canister of this on a wound. And mechanically, you gain 4d4 plus 4 hit points, though using a salve requires an action and a bonus action. After showing you these, again, almost like those like very mini mason jars, almost like a Gerber baby food jar. Showing you these like 3 jars, the grung would sort of look happily up after explaining the intricate process they went into making these. Blup. Each of these, blup, we'll do blup. Maybe 35 blup gold per blup. If you get 2 of them, blup, we'll do 30 gold.
It's pretty good.
I mean, that's not bad. So it's wait, let me look at my gold before I start. Would you do all 3 for 80? Take them off your hand. I got gold.
Give me another persuasion check, Renny.
12.
Damn.
Blup. I could do blup. 85 gold. Blup. It's the best I could do, friend. Blup.
I think that's fair.
I'll help with half of that.
I'll do the 45. You should do 40.
Okay.
85 gold. Go ahead and add 3 healing salves. Again, action, bonus action to apply, but you heal for 4d4 plus 4 hit points.
I'll take 1 and give 2 to Enna. So I still have that whole healing potion.
We're on the same track.
The shopkeep probably going on to try to sell you many other like herbal tonics and like strange other like salves and balms. None of them seem very interesting. They tried their damnedest to try to upsell, but after a little bit of back and forth with your salves in hand, you see the sun now fully set. Purples in the sky mixed with slight oranges. You could faintly see the sun, though that night sky is almost fully taken over. Anything else that our party would like to do before heading up to the glow hearth?
They see it for me.
Yeah, nothing's jumping to mind.
We would see Armit, Enna, and Renny begin to make their way across Summer Bend, heading to the Eastmost Sisters' upper branches, passing by many other citizens and city folk as you guys begin your journey. It wouldn't take you too terribly long, though again, the longest part is almost always ascending or descending the trees, whichever way you're going. After finally finding your way back up to the upper branches, you would see, again, that fairly large structure. Again, one of the largest structures, at least in this portion of the upper branches in the Eastmost Sister, with its large sign reading the glow hearth. We would see you 3 make your way to the heavy-set doors, entering, immediately hitting that warm musk that the interior presents as it wraps you in as you step inside. You would see behind the desk would be the familiar blue dragonborn Jarrell, looking curiously, hey, hey, it's good to see you guys. I didn't know if you were coming back.
Yeah, we didn't either. I mean, sometimes life just takes you where it takes you. But, I think we wanted one more night before we were heading out, if you got the rooms.
Hey, yep, can do. You got a friend? Is it 3 rooms or bunking together with one of you guys?
He'll look at Armit real quick. Did you have a place to stay? Just want to make sure before I get you a room.
Oh, please, my treat. Yes, friend. 3 separate rooms for each of us. I also had heard from my companions here something about a ice bath. Jarrell giving this very cheeky smile. Oh, yeah. We got it here. We got it here, buddy. Armit stepping up and beginning to hand over some gold in payment. Our scene sort of panning out as each of you would receive a room key. Be sent up on your merry way. You would, of course, have the option of your ale being delivered to your room, much like last time, like you guys asked for.
Mm-hmm.
The three of you head up to your rooms, maybe getting an ale shortly after. All of you likely all getting some ice baths, at least now, or maybe first thing in the morning. Would there be anything else for either one of you as the night kind of begins to come to an end? We would probably get these small vignettes, seeing Armit beginning his nightly meditation after his bath, maybe passing over to Renny's room. Would Renny be doing anything particular on this night?
I mean, after doing his huge stash of stuff all around the room, he'd probably just like enjoy. Like, it was cool to be a peach leaf and have everything halfling, but now he's just like in this bed that feels giant to him. So I think he's just like flopped in the bed, just enjoying like. It's like, this is hard to like. It's not convenient, but also once I'm up here, just swimming in bed.
And we pass over from Renny's room over to Enya's room. Would Enya be getting into anything particular tonight?
I actually imagine that Enya would enjoy her drink in the bath, sort of keeping the mug half submerged in the water, keep it nice and cold. And then just thoroughly enjoying the drink this time because she was pleasantly surprised by the quality of it last time they were here, and so she got distracted sort of analyzing it. So this time she's just like fully relaxed, enjoys her bath, and then once it's like warmed up too much for her taste, I actually imagine that she would go down into like the tavern area itself and just try to get like one of those beer flights, you know what I'm talking about? Like small half drinks of like a bunch of assorted flavors, and just sort of not trying to talk to anyone at all. She's not like that social, but I think she enjoys being like around people and just observing and just taking in the atmosphere.
Enya in this very, maybe half-filled tavern here at sort of the ground level of the glow hearth. There'd be a few citizens, a few travelers milling about, a couple card games, one particular booth getting a little rowdy, the Leonin barkeep having to go over there and sort of keep them quiet. One of the tabaxi sort of bar hands coming around, checking on you, seeing if you need anything before heading off to one of the other various tables. Panning back as you would see Enya grab one of the drinks off her flight, give it just the faintest little sip as she sort of savors that last flavor. I think that's where we'll end our session for today. Good game. Good game.
Oh man.
Oh, water weird. That's fun.
Yeah.
That was so good. You guys murdered it. Jesus Christ. I had almost 60 health, I think.
Damn. I like that we all have like.
I expected to drown for a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it'd be another turn or two.
That's kind of what I thought. I was like, man, at first I thought I was going to get you the first turn. I was like, oh, I'm going to get one of them the first turn and they'll be in there. But I missed the first time and I was like, it's okay. And then I natural 20 and I was like, oh man. And then he died like 2 turns later.
Luckily for Enya, I kind of tried to sketch it out a little bit.
Oh, that's amazing.
I can send the picture if you guys want.
What?
MVP. Nice.